Hello, Storytellers. Welcome back to Whispers from the Phylactery, where we talk tabletop role-playing games and the art of making stories worth remembering. I've been a game runner for 15 plus years, so hopefully I can offer some insights into what I do, and it'll help you. That's the goal. Today, I want to tackle a question I get asked a lot from new people in my life that are starting to want to branch out into telling their own stories, and that's, how do you prep for a session if you're short on time or you only have 1 hour or less? I mean, we've all been there. Life gets busy, schedules get messy, and suddenly your players are showing up in an hour and you haven't even cracked open your notes. You're still making dinner. Uh, but here's the secret. I mean, you don't need 10 hours of prep to run a great session. With the right focus, 1 hour is more than enough. So I'm going to break down how I do it step by step, and I'll be using my own session this evening to basically give an example of what I do as I go along. And I suppose this is a good time to caveat, if anyone is plumbing the dungeons of Dreadrock, you know who you are. Leave this video now, or I will drop a rock on you. Okay, now that they've left, I hope. I keep shaking the camera, sorry. Number one, the three things that matter. So when I only have an hour or a short time to prep a game, really just prep in general. I'm bad for leaving it to the last minute, I'll admit. I don't try to plan everything that's going to happen. That's impossible. Instead, I focus on three main things. Where my players are starting, what the main tension or obstacle of the session or adventure is, although breaking it down so that they're selling in every session is nice, and how it could end. That's it. Those are the 3 points that give me a skeleton for the session or even a short adventure arc. The rest is improv, using my general notes for the story to help fill in the gaps. And I mean, that's where the magic of tabletop games comes from, where everyone's collaborating. Improv is a fairly big part of it. And if you're saying, I'm not really good at improv, I'm really bad at it, I could tell you to go take a course, or I could just reaffirm with you that improv can be hard. Not everybody can do it. Not everyone can do it innately. Everyone can do it. Not everyone can do it innately. I used to have a really hard time with improv. I sort of fixed that by taking a little bit more notes. I have my general notes for the story I can reference as a reminder, because bad memory. But it's a skill that you build on the more you do it. You don't have to be amazing out of the gate. Just fly at it. Just do it. Unfortunately, that's the answer. Someone else might have a different answer. That's my answer. Gotta work that muscle. So, step one. Back onto the main thing here. I do have my... keep shaking the camera. I have my notebook and a pencil. So, as we're going, I'm going to be filling it out. And I'll just show you my thought process. Number one, where are the players right now? Did you leave off mid-combat? Or are they at a resting place? Are they in a dungeon hallway? Are they on the road to a city? Or sitting in a tavern after the last big fight? I like to jot down 1 or 2 sentences to sort of anchor the opening scene. And that's my launch pad. And then, of course, at the start of the game, I also recap. I ask the players for a recap of what happened so I can see where their interest lied last time and what things were important to them. Because it might be different than what I have, and I just need to sort of work on that and work it in. Like, oh, well, my plan didn't super work, but I can highlight this thing that they did care about more. So, for me tonight, my players left off in the middle of a zombie ambush. They rescued a scout or a guide that had been chained to the wall. And when they broke the chain, zombies arrived to try and eat them all. They managed to escape over the wall, but now they're stuck in a forest with, well, a lot of hungry undead. So that's my starting point. So, zombie ambush, fog rolling in, and a wounded guide. They did cast healing magic, but unbeknownst to them, I swear, if you are listening, I'm going to beat you. Their guide has ability drain from a vampire. So it would require restoration, which they don't really have access to yet, to enable the guide to properly recover in, like, outside of normal rest. So, number 2, define the core tension. What is going to be the main issue in this session? It doesn't have to be a world-ending plot. That's for the campaign overall. In this session, it might just be the bandits want to rob the caravan that the party's guarding. The Duke doesn't trust the party's motives. Or the old mine is unstable and time is running out. There's something that the party needs down in the mine. I only really need one core obstacle because players are always going to make it bigger and messier than you expect, really. Let's be honest. And if they do somehow deal with the obstacle, well, that's why we have extra encounters in the wings. So, for today, the main obstacle. The party's objective, for me, is for them to escape the zombie horde and make their way out of the woods safely. The difficulty here isn't outrunning the zombies. I mean, zombies are slow, right? It's navigating the rough terrain in a fog, one that they aren't yet aware is magical in nature. Created by a necromancer that also created the undead. When you're constantly circling back or having to slow down, that's time that the undead gain ground. So, main obstacle, escape the woods. Escape the woods, and party is being, what would be a good one? Acted upon, slowed down, challenged. No, I just do challenged. Challenged by the necromancer. And then, of course, because I'm running the game and I have my other notes, I know that the necromancer is this NPC, yada, yada, yada. I will get to it as an NPC later on, but let's keep going. So there's my two little blurbs about the overall core tension. Number 3, sketching out 2 to 3 encounters. I like to sketch out 2 or 3 possible encounters, not fully fleshed out maps or stat blocks, just really bullet points. I can expand on them after if I have more time and flesh them out, or if it's a climactic fight. Ideally, I'll have done more than an hour prep for a climactic fight. And I'll have that ready in advance. But just for quick prep, it's the type of encounters that you might run into, for examples, are combats, roleplay, and exploration. Most things you're going to find fall into those 3 broad categories. So I'm going to make one for each of them for tonight, just as a guideline. So for combat, I know, so encounters, combat. The one that's big here is the zombies, the zombie ambush. Every time the party gets turned back or lost, zombies can emerge from the fog as the party's running. And it could also be other servants of the necromancer sent to impede the party. So we'll do zombie ambushes in smaller numbers than the original horde. Small numbers. And then other servants of the necromancer. So other servants and other servants of the necromancer. In this case, there's a tribe of goblins that have sort of been voluntold to assist the necromancer on fear of zombies. Other servants. So we have goblins. We have potentially wolves or bats. After all, it is a vampire. The scout has vampire drain. The vampire controls wolves and bats. Could be foreshadowing to what's coming up. So there's a couple quick jot downs for different kinds of encounters. If I wasn't as familiar with the system, I would jot down like zombie encounter, two zombie shamblers, one zombie Hulk to sort of mentally do it. At this point, I've been running Pathfinder 2nd Edition long enough that I'll look at the party's current capacity, whether they're low on hit points or spells or items, and I'll adjust the encounter accordingly, where I know, like, okay, they're on half health, but they have some high damage items. I might want to toss in one zombie Hulk and then just one shambler, and then two or three shamblers on the edge that are further back, that the only fight is really going to be against the first two, but it feels bigger because there are others behind them, even though they'll be able to run away from those. I'm planning on them running away from those. So there's our combats. Looking at roleplay, while there will be roleplay moments with the scout, I'm just going to write down roleplay. With the scout that they rescued, that's more filler than a standalone encounter. Like if they choose to try and take a breather and talk to the scout's pretty messed up at the moment. They're hurting, they are addled, they've gone through a horrendous experience at the hands of the necromancer. They're not really all there. They're focusing on their survival. So that I wouldn't do as a full one. I'll make a quick note, like the scout. I'll make notes about the scout is panicked and addled from their ordeal. And that'll just remind me that, yeah, they were basically tortured and fed on by the vampire. They are not in a good state. The notes just have to be cliff notes. The other role-playing encounter I kind of want to focus in on is I want the party to meet the necromancer in advance, or the necromancer, the vampire, in advance without knowing who it is. So for me, that's going to be when the party is escaping, towards the end of the challenge, when they're almost near the edge of the woods, they're going to come into a clearing where a woman is picking herbs and filling her basket, and she will assist the party in escaping the woods. And really, it's the necromancer in disguise. They're trying just to get a read on the party, see what their tactics are. The entire thing really is a game to the necromancer. So, second encounter, woman in the woods picking herbs. Woods picking herbs. Is necro in disguise. In disguise. There we go. And then lastly, exploration. There we go. Exploration is a slower activity. It's usually dealing with environmental hazards or other things that are going on. This will be the flight through the woods, done with a series of skill checks, because the zombie horde is always on the trail. It's really, can the party navigate the woods without getting bogged down? I might do a scene that just highlights how they get across like a ravine or something when the pressure's on behind them. Since I'm running this adventure in Pathfinder 2nd Edition, the party won't be able to slow down and search to avoid ambushes, or to scout ahead, or just keep their eyes open, or go stealthily. All of their energy is going to be on moving to outpace the zombies, because the zombies don't really need to go slowly. They'll be able to catch up to the party pretty quick if they take their time and do half speed. So that's where I'm aiming. It's the flight through the woods. Flight through woods. Maybe an encounter with the ravine. Encounter with ravine challenge. Or like a thorny patch or thorn maze. Thorn Patch, Thorn Maze. Question mark. So each encounter is really just a tool that I can pull out depending on what my players decide to do with the session. Because, I mean, they might completely change what they're doing. They might stand and fight, in which case, well, the threat of navigating back is largely reduced and gone. So I might not need the filler exploration encounters. I still would like to do the roleplay encounter because for me it's part of the I want to say it. In Doctor Who, it's a set point in time. It's an encounter I want to highlight. It's one of the ones I want in there. Regardless of where it takes place, I want them to meet the necromancer. And then I can toss in other combat encounters if they're doing it quickly, or if they're still doing it too quickly, I can do you come across the ravine, or actually if they fail some of their checks, they come across the ravine that they weren't expecting, and now they need to try and get across that. And I want to see how they do it, and let them talk, and let them figure it out, puzzle solve. Even though it's a natural puzzle. So, before we jump to the next one, if you're finding this helpful, I mean, it really helps me if you consider giving a like, commenting, subscribing, and possibly hitting the bell to get more talks every week. But for now, let's go on to number 4, NPCs. So, if I'm doing a quick session, I try to grab 2 to 3 NPCs that might fit the location and just give them or re-outline some very basic traits. Number 1, a goal. Every NPC should have a goal. Number 2, a personality quirk. It gives you something to work off of when you're role-playing that NPC, and it's something that players can remember them for. And then number 3, a secret. This might just impact how they are interacting with the party, or possibly it might be something for the party to discover, to not discover. It just generally impacts how they talk with the party. With those 3 things, I can improvise dialogue on the spot and still feel like the NPC is real and more than just a name. Don't ask my players for proof, just take my word for it. Examples for this session prep, I have the scout and I have the necromancer. Now, there aren't really going to be any NPCs besides those 2. So for NPCs, we have the scout. So the scout's goal, to survive. Now it's pretty easy. Oh, forgot. Give them names. Names help. If you can jot down a couple names in advance, great. So the scout's name is Haraway. I might give him Oliver Haraway. Yeah, there we go. Oliver Haraway. So, yeah, their goal is to escape the forest alive. What's their quirk? Well, the scout has shifty eyes. Then we know that it's because he's having a hard time not to freak out and run off. His eyes are on a swivel because he's waiting for zombies to lurch out of the mist and attack him. He doesn't feel safe. And then the secret for the scout is he fears what's become of his family. His main drive is to get back to them, but he doesn't really know who these people are, or if it's more vampire minions that are just trying to trick him, or what'll happen if he leaves the forest with them. So he fears for his family, and he's paranoid. Paranoid. And then we have the woman. Well, the necromancer. Necromancer. So the necromancer's goal. And for big NPCs like this, I would frequently consult with my notes for the story overall. This one I know pretty well. The goal is to see how the party reacts. Party reacts to the ambush and the situation. so that they can see their tactics. There we go. The quirk, we'll just go with, she likes to tuck her hair away, even when there's not out of place. She tucks her hair away, even when not out of place. Place. So I'm doing that one because it'll give her a nervous demeanor, which should also help throw the party off of like, well, what's this person doing out here? Like, well, they're just collecting herbs. And you just stumbled across them with a very wounded man. What's going on? The secret, this is the big one for this character, is... oh, sorry. Forgot to say the name. The name is Agra. Agra, the young woman. The secret is Agra is a Bavanshi. Oh man, hope so I spell correctly. Is a Bavanshi. And Bavanshi are Fey vampires. They're one of my favorite creatures. I like using Agra as a villain. If you want more information on the Bavanshi, I'll link it up here and down in the description. I like them. They're great. They're gothic vampires. They're Fey that are so immersed in gothic lore that they became vampires. It's fantastic. So she's the main villain of this arc. So what she wants is to tell a tale of heroism and ultimately despair. She wants to tell a tale of heroism and despair. Tale of heroism and ultimately despair. When they make it to her lair before finally seeing who she is and dying. Bavanshi are very dramatic. They like to create stories. Even better if she can tempt one of the PCs into falling in love with her to break their heart later. Check it out. I like it. I like to go on about them. So, step 5, final step, is quick reference notes. I throw everything into a single piece of paper on a page of quick notes. I don't write paragraphs. I don't detail the stat blocks. Just bullet points and reminders. Though, as we started off, and as you can see, I did it as we were going. And this will just serve as my cheat sheet. The goal, it helps me keep organized, and it's not to control the story. It is, because we're always trying to control the story a little bit, but it's to give myself guidelines and touchstones so that I can improvise more confidently. I know the things I want to hit. I know how they interact with each other a little bit. And if I do already have the stat blocks for creatures, like I have a stat block for Agra because she's a main NPC or main villain, I might link those or tag the books with sticky notes for later use. So I have them at hand, or for encounters I think are likely to happen. Like if for doing this, I would just highlight the zombie stat blocks, maybe a wolf stat block or goblin stat block that I've been using for the goblin minions. And I have Agra's stat block because she's the villain. If for some reason they attack her, well, they're 2 levels low for what's going to happen, but she'll just play with them a little bit and then leave. Ideally, she'll play with them a little bit and then leave. The dice sometimes say no, and then your villain dies early and you gotta adapt. So, that's it. With not that long. Looking at it, this video is about 25 minutes long currently, and I have the building blocks for my session tonight. Because it's on Foundry, now I need to go in and sort of put everything in and get ready. But just for if I was just writing at the table, I'd have a square of graph paper, which I don't have behind me. I thought I might. And I would draw maps on the fly. Other than if I have extra time or while waiting for people to arrive, I might sketch out the like a rough encounter area. Like, well, there's a pond here, there's trees over here, and then I'll just do that. I'll finalize it when at the table. That's it. So in under half an hour, we've set up the starting scene. We've set up a core tension, 2 to 3 encounters. You could do more if you want, if you have time. A couple NPCs, and a 1-page cheat sheet for later. The rest, trust yourself. Trust your players. The story doesn't need to be perfect. Most stories aren't perfect. That's just the nature of the beast. The story needs to feel alive and semi-spontaneous. So that's what I have to say about this one. I have a question for you. What's the fastest you've ever had to prep a game? And how did it go? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your survival stories of GN prep at the last minute. And if you found this helpful, again, don't forget to like, subscribe, ring the bell. I like to do these videos every week about tabletop role-playing game discussion and theory, and just how to be a better GM. So, until next time, may your dice roll true, and may your prep, however short, always spark a great adventure. So long, Avengers.